Folks. Now, if you saw my video yesterday, it was about Spencer Pratt, the LA mayoral race, and I said that I was going to speak on that a bit more, and I intend to, but I'm waiting for a little bit more results to come in so we can get a better idea of where we truly stand. Today, I want to talk about a tweet, or rather a fake tweet. Well, I suppose it was actually put on X at some point, just not by the place that it claims. But anyways, that's not the important part. Where it came from, whether or not it's real, none of that is important. What is important is the sentiment. And this is it right here. Protect our values and stay grounded in what we believe. Respect for others does not require us to celebrate or endorse every message or movement. We will not change who we are to appeal to the crowd, and we will not compromise our beliefs for approval. Our position is simple. We will remain respectful, but we will also remain true to our principles. If you look at the top of that video, if you're actually looking at your phone when I was reading that, you'll see that it was community noted. It, in fact, was not tweeted from Chick-fil-A, and that's fine because we're not talking about Chick-fil-A. Again, we are talking about the sentiment expressed in this statement. And that sentiment is about as reasonable as one can make. I mean, when you really think about it. We're going to accept you, but that doesn't mean that we have to celebrate you. It doesn't mean that we have to compromise our values for you. That is the American way, and it always has been meant to be the American way. That we may not all agree, but that we can accept others' individual lives. As long as they aren't pushing those lives, their values, their beliefs, whatever it may be, onto others. And now, there could be a criticism in that Chick-fil-A, had they actually made this tweet, is a Christian organization, and, Christians proselytize, and, a great many of them sometimes judge outside of, their given authority by God. Fair enough. I get it. And you can criticize them on that. But people out there making statements like the one that I just read you, those are the realest Americans you can find, because they, like me, may not agree with what you say, but they will die defending your right to say it. I do not support trans activism. I do not support leftist activism. I don't really support much activism that is specific to demographics in that nature, because we are supposed to be a melting pot, one people with the same rights across the board. So unless you're out there, doing activist work for the rights of all Americans, I can't really get on board with you. The problem here, though, is that many of the communities that this statement is directed at are communities full of people that not only demand your validation, your respect, but in many instances, in fact, probably most instances, your adherence to them, as if they are the all-knowing truth teller, as if we are but fools who do not see the reality of the world, and that they, with their delusions, are the ones who see the truth of the world. It's this persistent narcissism from the left and from LGBTQ activists, and I'm not even going to say the community, because I personally know more than one, LGB at least, that do not ride with the activism. They are a part of the community, but nonetheless, they are not trying to push transitions onto children. They don't understand why the activists are always targeting kids, and they vote Republican because they have common sense, because they realize that they're not actually under threat. It's the indoctrination by these activists in these communities and demographics that is at threat. Nobody's trying to outlaw who you love. Nobody's saying we should take back the right for lesbian and gays to marry. All we're saying is leave the kids alone and quit acting like you're gods. And plenty of them, as I said, are perfectly reasonable, and they do not behave that way. They are utterly reasonable, utterly competent. So one of the most competent people I've ever met in my life was a 22-year-old gay woman, and the respect I have for her again, competence, her ability, and her reasonableness, I can't state how much I respect her for that. Because I, as I've said before, respect people. I judge people based on their individual character and action. But these people, these activists, they believe that simply by virtue of their demographic, they're deserving of more respect, more adherence, more deference than anyone. You, me, all of us combined. And that is the issue, or one of the major issues that has driven this wedge between these activist communities and regular American people. And all it does is harm those reasonable, intelligent, personable, normal lesbian and gay men and women out there. It makes their lives harder. It stigmatizes them when all they are trying to do is live their own individual lives. So, to anybody out there that doesn't like the statement that I read, the fake Chick-fil-A statement, if anyone out there dislikes the sentiment, you're the problem. That's what I want to say today. You are the problem. You're not special. Your sexuality, your community, none of that makes you special. What you add to the world potentiates your specialness. So if you're not out there doing something great, if you're not out there creating and giving back to the world, if all you're doing is complaining and playing the victim and attacking those that you think are judging you, when really all they're doing is saying, hey man, we respect it, we're just not going to celebrate it, you, my friend, are the problem.